I'm happy and proud to be part of this very historic venture in the history of our various peoples. I greet all the peoples who are involved, from the coast to the middle belt of Nigeria, and even some to the far north of Nigeria. I greet you all, and I say the battle is on, the war is on. We are set to win, and we will win. Congratulations in advance to all our peoples. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor. That was Professor Akintoye, who just delivered his, goodwill message and saying to the people that everything is okay and that everything will be fine. So quickly, we will start now. We will be going to Lagos, where the press conference is holding, and I will be bringing in or rather, I will hand over to Tony to make the introduction. So, Tony, I'm handing over to you. You can do the introduction, and let's get going. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Welcome everybody on behalf of the NINAS Secretary. We just had the voice of and saw the face of Professor Banji Akintoye from where he is. We have a full house. The signatories to the proclamation joining us from various locations across the globe. We have one of our key resources, a signatory to the proclamation of our people. He will be introducing the persons who will be speaking to you this over to you.
Okay, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this very important occasion. And I will be introducing some of the signatories from the different segments of NINAS.
Go ahead, we can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead, we can hear you loud and clear. We can hear you loud and clear. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. So already we have heard from the chairman of NINAS, Professor Banji Akintoye. And also here is Tony Nnadi, the Secretary General of NINAS. We also have wonderful and able Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki, who is a leader of the Midwest movement. Seated here too is Dr. Rotimi Olokodana, who is also from the NINAS Secretariat. We also have our able Otumba Kade Olukoya, I beg your pardon. And then, of course, Maxwell Adeleye from the media. And so we welcome you and thank you for this wonderful occasion. So I'll take it back to Mazi. Is it okay?
Yeah,
thank you very much.
I think I'll have to take it from here. The address of today is coming at the close of the 120 days period of consultation we took from the 17th of April. After the 90 days for the federal government and the 30 days for the governors and the elected officials of state, the 120 days we took from April 17th was to consult with the populace, the people directly, because this is a people's right we're talking about. and people's power was what was activated on that 17th of April. And therefore, we also engaged the international community in that period. Today's event is to take stock of how far we've gone, what is left, the progress that has been made, monumental.
Square Terminal is an all-in-one credit card machine. It's built from the ground up entirely by Square.
Progress. But before we get into the speech, which will be taken by Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki, I want us to, I'm sure most of us have been hearing about the documents that we got from the British archives by all means, the documents that our fathers did not see, the documents at the foundation of Nigeria that our fathers were not privy to. One of those documents is here, dated 1912. And the very thing we are doing now, one of those was already documented as something that was likely to happen from the very foundation of Nigeria by the British that put Nigeria together in the manner we have seen in Nigeria. And so, in that document, the British they knew that what they were putting together will fall like a pack of cards. I'm actually reading now about the portion about the compromised foundation. He says, it is this loyal band of officials who have prevailed on the framework of the administration tumbling down like a pack of cards, and who by their sympathetic treatment of the natives have reflected on the best traditions of the imperial rule and have remained a pillar of hope and tower to the encouraging them in the unswerving devotion to the emperor and the king in general. It goes on and on to talk about the swindling of the natives throughout the document. The natives were described, the indigenous nationalities of Nigeria were described as the natives, because the British knew that the people they were in joint venture with were not natives in that sense. And so I continue. It says the successful prosecution of the British federal policy, since it will entail not only the social and economic enslavement of the natives, but also the legal swindling and confiscation of their inherent and inalienable right to their ancestral lands. What the British knew that what they were doing will entail the swindling of the natives of their ancestral lands and their inalienable, rights over it. But the worst part is where they went on to say that the Nigerian derived from this sanction, whether of future policy, they were now talking about one thing or the other that could happen in projecting where the matter will land eventually. So everything depends on whether or not her future policy is to derive its sanctions from the Nigerian system. If the former, she can, to her heart's content, count upon the well-tried loyalty of the African subjects. But if the latter, that is, if they do not change some of the things that have already been done wrong, then the native will be compelled to claim the right of self-determination before the League of Nations. At the time this document was being put together, the United Nations we know today was the League of Nations. And so the British themselves documented it, that when the natives get to find out the depth of swindling that has happened, and they organize themselves, that they will be going before the League of Nations to claim their right to self-determination. Why are we here today? The indigenous nationalities, the ones they call the natives of the time, we have come to the full consciousness of the atrocities they packed together to label Nigeria. And we are today on our way, not just on our way, we already went there. I've been part of teams that went to the UN headquarters to discuss with those who will be handling the matter when it comes to the next stage. And so it is, we decided to call your attention to this document that predates 1914. These documents were concealed from those who negotiated Nigeria, our fathers. I dealt with Enohoro, I dealt with Ojukwu, I dealt with Bankoloki, I dealt with Hope Harriman. Most of the people who actually went to Lancaster House and the meetings before Lancaster House, they confirmed to us that they didn't know that this was what they were signing into. If they knew on no account would they have signed up. Even the question of Sharia that came up later, it was an issue at the time. And this document also predicted that a time will come when a holy war will erupt in that northern province on account of what the people are going to find out about being deceived. If you read what was here and you knew the story of Yusuf that became Boko Haram, you will see that everything happening to us, was intended to be so that this enterprise will continue the way it was. I think we can now go over to Don Pedro Obaseki to take us through what has come to be.
Good morning, my friends, colleagues. I will be as dedicated to the script as possible, but this is formal. But you are my colleagues. Nigerian Union dispute emanating from grave constitutional grievances. A milestone report on the implementation of the December 16, 2020 constitutional force majeure and direction for the future. This is a test of the statement at this board press conference, August 17, 2021, by the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, at the expiration of the 120-day period of consultations, which commenced on April 17, 2021. The theme of this milestone report is Taking Back Our Sovereignty, a declaration of victory over the fraud of 1999. So, gentlemen of the press, as we come to the close of the 120-day period of consultations, which commenced on the 17th day of April 2021, in the measured implementation of the constitutional force majeure, we invited you here today to update our people and the global community on the tremendous progress that has been made in giving effect to the will of the peoples of Nigeria, which have for so long been suppressed by the forces of oppression and retrogression. Recall that following the December 16, 2020 constitutional force majeure proclamation, a sovereignty dispute was declared by the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination, NINAS, on the grounds of grave constitutional grievances, and a 5-point demand was made on the federal government of Nigeria with a 90-day period of notice for the commencement of irreversible steps towards the remediation of the said grievances. The full text of the proclamation was published as an advertorial in the January 2021 edition of the Guardian newspapers. You can find that on pages 38, 39, 40, and 41. For the ease of reference, it is good that we recall that the 5 points of demand in the December 16, 2020 proclamation are: 1, a formal announcement by the federal government of Nigeria acknowledging the constitutional grievances and sovereignty dispute which was declared by the peoples of the South and the Middle Belt of Nigeria. A formal commitment by the federal government of Nigeria to the wholesale decommissioning and jettisoning of the 1999 Constitution as the basis of the Federation of Nigeria, as was done by the government of the apartheid era Union of South Africa in 1990. And that commenced the process by which the apartheid constitution of the then South Africa was eased out. So this is not something new. It is not a novelty. A formal announcement by the federal government of Nigeria suspending further general elections under the disputed 1999 constitution, since the winners of such elections will swear to and govern by that constitution. So by that declaration of December 2020, that constitution ceases to exist, and you cannot swear people in on the basis of zero. That must be clear. Any election going forward is null, void, ultra-vires, and of no consequence or constitutional backing whatsoever, howsoever, because the constitution is dead. 3, a formal invitation to the peoples of the South and the Middle Belt of Nigeria, we shall work out and replace and emplace a transitional authority, and we shall specify the modalities for the transitioning process, including the composition and mandate of the transitional authority, as well as the time frame for the transitioning and other auxiliary matters. 5, a formal initiation of a time-bound transitioning process to midwife the emergence of fresh constitutional protocols by a 2-stage process in which the constituent regional blocks will, at the first stage, distill and ratify their various constitutions by referendums and plebiscites, and then in the second stage, negotiate the terms of federating afresh as may be dictated by the outcomes of the referendum and plebiscites. Key. Recall that also that at the expiration of the 90-day period, NINAS addressed a world press conference in Ibadan on March 17, 2020, at which it announced a 30-day period of consultations with governors and other elected officials of NINAS Alliance territory, and which expired on April the 16th, 2021. Also recall that on the 17th day of April 2021, NINAS announced the commencement of another period of 120 days of consultations with the peoples of Nigeria, as well as the critical stakeholders segment of the international community, which period came to a close on August the 16th, 2021. We are glad to report to you, our people, and the international community today, the 17th day of August 2021, the spectacular success of the joint multi-regional constitutional force majority in its main objective of defeating and peacefully easing out the imposed, toxic, and fraudulent 1999 constitution upon which the distressed Federation of Nigeria is presently constructed. This victory over the fraud of 1999 is the first major step towards the recovery and reinstatement of the sovereignty of the constituent components of the defunct Federation of Nigeria, trapped in the unitary union of death that Nigeria has become for all that defeated the 1999 unitary constitution. In order to understand the victory we have just declared over that toxic 1999 constitution, and for the benefit of those who may not have followed the developments in the Nigerian politics since December 16, 2020, activation of the constitutional force majority, it is significant to note that, 1, in the 90-day period of notice to federal government of Nigeria, the attempt to resort to the backdoor route of constitutional amendments as a response to the sovereignty dispute raised by NINAS was rejected countrywide, as NINAS and other major stakeholders, including some governors, insisted that the 1999 constitution was a total fraud that could not be cured by amendments, and more importantly, that the legislative mandate of the National Assembly is lawmaking and does not extend to constitution making. It is not a constitution drafting assembly. That botched attempt is by itself an acknowledgement of the incurable foundational flaw of the 1999 Constitution. In the 30-day period of consultations for governors and other elected officials in the Alliance territory, the governors of the southern states of Nigeria, in an unprecedented move, never before has it ever happened in the history of this country, met in Asaba to declare that open grazing will be banned in all states of southern Nigeria. This decision, if effectively, brought the governors to the side of the propositions of NINAS constitutional force majority, as that decision in the Asaba declaration cannot be effectively carried out without first decommissioning the 1999 Constitution and its federal exclusive legislative list, which currently prohibit the states from issuing firearms to enforce such a ban. In the 120-day period of consultations with the peoples of Nigeria and the international community, the indigenous nationalities of Nigeria from all parts of the South and the Middle Belt, in embrace of the NINAS grant propositions, marched out to the streets in their homelands and in capital cities of the world, including Washington, D.C., New York, and London, to loudly assert their right to self-determination and their rejection of the unitary union of death Nigeria has become for their people under the fraudulent 1999 Constitution. In particular, the Yoruba took their self-determination campaign to the United Nations, leading the rest of the NINAS alliance to the point that the CNN reported this growing push for exit from the failed Lugadian experiment of 1914 by the Yoruba, joining the long-standing exit campaign from the Eastern Flank, framed by its proponents as the Biafra agitation. On the international circuit, between April the 28th, 2021 and April the 30th, 2021, key global powers, including the United States, the European Union, and the United Kingdom, acted in concert to point Nigeria to the key prescriptions of the December 16, 2020 constitutional force majority, and asking that the rulers of Nigeria to put guns aside and initiate a dialogue of the peoples of Nigeria to distill a fresh legal instrument, albeit a constitution. We recall that the United Nations, through its special rapporteur on Nigeria, had in September of 2021 declared the current 2019, had in September of 2019 declared the current constitutional arrangements of Nigeria as a pressure cooker for injustice, and that Nigeria, under the current 1999 Constitution, is now a danger to global peace, security, as Nigeria can snap and cause an unprecedented global refugee crisis in which Nigeria's 200 million citizens will be seeking escape from death at a time the global terror networks include ISIS and Al-Qaeda are already converging in Nigeria. Now, inside this 120-day period, a global caveat by NINAS on the reckless foreign loans by the current federal government of Nigeria saw China canceling a loan of $1 billion United States dollars on Nigeria for the construction of a gas pipeline, while the United States canceled an order for attack helicopters on Nigeria, and the United States Congress followed up with the ban of sale of weapons to Nigeria, following request for such a ban by NINAS under U.S. concerns about gross human rights abuse by the regime in Nigeria. It is significant to note that in what seems like a sudden realization and a dawning reality on the Caliphate North, the coalition of northern groups which had since the 2017 Igbo quit notice from the North gained notoriety for its belligerence, suddenly realigned its position to the NINAS propositions and prescriptions regarding the Nigerian question as encapsulated by the NINAS proclamation of December 16, 2020, accepting A, that the Nigerian Union has collapsed. B, that we do not have a constitution at the moment, since the imposed 1999 constitution has been repudiated and has been rejected countrywide. C, that the National Assembly cannot, by amendments, cure the fraud called the 1999 Constitution, and so must stop its present pretense that all is well with the Nigerian Union. That the National Assembly must halt the current constitutional amendment exercise and genuinely join the search for solutions to the dying Nigerian Union. D, that a grand meeting of the constituent component nationalities has become inevitable, and that the constituent components of Nigeria must at such a meeting first agree to form a union, that is, they must agree to federate, before undertaking the task of settling the terms of that union. These somber and profound postulations were made in a recent BBC interview by the spokesperson of the CNG, or the Coalition of Northern Groups, Abdulaziz Suleiman. The link is available on the sheet for you. So, bearing the urgency of the ultra-conservative lot, it could be said that the postulations of the coalitions of northern groups clearly indicate that a countrywide consensus regarding the viable options for the dismantling and grand reconfiguration of the current unworkable unitary union of Nigeria has thus emerged. Happily, the comprehensive framework for undertaking the well-articulated prescriptions of the Coalition of Northern Groups in the aforementioned BBC interview are contained in the December 16, 2020 Constitutional Force Majority Proclamation. The defeat and impending demise of the 1999 Constitution sets the basis for the liberation of all who were trapped in the bondage called Nigeria. It is no longer a matter for debate that the 1999 Constitution is a fraud and a forgery that is directly responsible for practically all the miseries tormenting Nigerians, including the killings, mass poverty, gross insecurity, and general hopelessness, now leading to the demise of the Nigerian Union itself. It does not matter, therefore, which political party or which individual wins power. That constitution guarantees the evils we lament day in, day out. It is no longer a matter for debate that the peoples of Nigeria have repudiated and rejected the 1999 Constitution, and that the main people clinging tenaciously to that Constitution are the caliphate elements and their surrogates who have imposed it, and for whom the rogue document is a title deed. The Constitution is a title deed by which they hold almost exclusively this vast piece of estate called Nigeria. Why the only other people clinging to that 1999 Constitution of debt are the political jobbers and merchants whose humongous benefits flow from the Igbo Constitution, even as mass poverty grind the rest of the populace they pretend to lead. The press, it is your duty to make Nigerians understand that they are being trampled upon by a paper they did not write. When you collect little and let your people suffer, and you believe in God, let me not get emotional. But to seize us out of this lacuna, we must be emotional. This is not a play issue. I'm sorry, my guys. It is no longer a matter for debate that, God will bless you, that elections are the mechanism by which the life of the 1999 Constitution is renewed every 4 years. You are like, they are dying, they die, we're carrying election, like if it is oxygen, pump them again, and they are begins to continues to live when we know ab initio it was born dead. It follows, therefore, that those who are tormented by that Constitution like me, but who nonetheless are set to go to another round of national elections under that Constitution like them, are the ones renewing and reinforcing their own damnation, bondage, and enslavement. It is now, therefore, a matter of choice whether we want to renew the source of our miseries once again in the 2023, or we want to free ourselves by rejecting now, in 2021, the invitation to join in the preparation for another round of national elections in 2023. These circles of renewal must be broken if we must be free. The Yoruba say, a stone that one sees does not blind one. The key to breaking the circle of renewal of the life of the 1999 Constitution lies in knowing that only political parties contest elections, and all political parties in Nigeria ascribe to that evil 99 Constitution. And so, whichever party wins any election, that winner will swear to uphold and defend the 1999 Constitution. It follows that political parties are solely responsible for leading the rest of us to the self-damnation of renewing the life of that 1999 Constitution every 4 years. The political parties have in this regard become the Judas.
Judas goat.
Iscariot. Judas goat that routinely lead us all to the slaughter. The key to taking down the 1999 Constitution is immediately halting the political parties from dragging us to another round of national elections in 2023. This is not a call to boycott the 2023 elections, but a call to halt the preparations for 2023 inside 2021. You will only boycott when it happens. We are saying, don't even prepare to let it happen. Political parties must now way to close shop forthwith. Remember Bola Ige, those 5 parties there. He said they are the 5 fingers of a leprous hand. All political parties now, see, there are more than 5. It's like they are like octopuses with hydra heads. With the defeat of the 1999 Constitution by the joint multi-regional actions of the NINAS alliance, the Sharia Caliphate that imposed and holds tightly to that Constitution, as its title did, to own and to control Nigeria, is now confronted by the sudden demise of that their title did. The 1999 Constitution is dead, and is now on a desperate mission to reconquer the rest of Nigeria in order to re-establish ownership and control by conquest outside that defeated title deed. However, to be able to drive through its all-important conquest mission, the Caliphate needs more time in the saddle of Nigeria's political leadership and within the authoritarian powers conferred upon them by the all-powerful 1999 Constitution. So the only way the Caliphate can get that critically required time in power, that is time in the power saddle, is if the Caliphate can drag all of us to the voyage of another round of national elections in 2023 and give them another 4 years of fecundating and soaking this, our loaf, this bread, until we burst. On the other hand, if we halt the voyage to 2023 inside 2021, the 1999 Constitution will lose its life inside 2021. And we will immediately get into transitioning and therefore on the way to regional referendums for self-determination. Let the Yoruba Nation decide where they want to be, who they want to be, who they want to be with. Let the Igbo nation decide who they want to be, where they want to be, and who they want to cohort with. Let the Ijaw do same. Let Benin do same. Let Urhobo do same. We know where we are. We are in a marriage because we want to. Not the arranged first marriage that was done without any of us by a man who we know is in hell, and his name is Lord Frederick Luca. He's not a Lord. Sorry. This is the safe route to freedom for all constituent blocks that are fed up with the toxic Nigerian youth. Amidst the massive enlightenment campaign going on amongst peoples of the Alliance territory globally, concerning the correlation between the 1999 Constitution, our collective miseries, elections, and political parties, more of our people now know that going to general election in 2023 under the 1999 Constitution will spell unmitigated disaster, while halting the preparations by political parties for 2023 is guaranteed for their freedom, for their escape freedom. Accordingly, the choice is entirely in our hands. On the side of government, let it be known that it is the specter of 2023 elections that distorts and inhibits most of what would have been appropriate and common sense solutions to the multitudes of seemingly intractable problems of Nigeria. So it be sounded loud and clear that the immediate suspension of preparations towards the general elections in 2023 is the most urgently required first aid to Nigeria that is currently bleeding profusely from all sides. The risk of catastrophic implosion of Nigeria becomes exponentially increased. So NINAS call to action. NINAS has a 5-point call to action. Knowledge is power. The first task before us all in the period of commencing, that is commencing today, August 17, the year of our Lord 2021, is to help spread this information as well as other related information on the constitutional force majority amongst the peoples of the NINAS Alliance territory, wherever they are on the face of planet Earth. NINAS directs the regional blocks to advance the processing and ratification of their regional constitutions and charters in readiness for the United Nations-backed regional self-determination stay or leave referendum from the Distressed Federation of Nigeria. I pause to that sentence. NINAS requests you to help intensify the signing of the ongoing NINAS referendum petition, by which NINAS December 16, 2023 constitutional force majority proclamation is addressed to the United Nations Security Council, and also support and, where possible, partake in the march at the 76th United Nations General Assembly in September 2021. In this same period commencing August 17, 2021, let the campaign to persuade the political parties to close shop forthwith for the reasons outlined therein before be intensified. All the reasons we've outlined previously in this document, it should be intensified. This will bring us to Domino 2 and the transitioning threshold, precipitating the referendums for sake. When these actions take place, it will have a domino effect that will bring us to the transitioning threshold, which is referendum, referendum, referendum. Let the Yoruba people decide who, where, why they want to be, who, where, why, who. Let the Edo people do same. Let the Igbo people do same. Let the Ijaw people do same. Let the Akwa people do. Let every Nigerian decide whether to continue in this toxic, abiku, born-dead relationship or revive something new. With the defeat of the 1999 Constitution and in the spirit of the transitioning prescribed in the December 16, 2020 NINAS constitutional force majeure proclamation. All governments in the alliance territories are invited to brace up, take charge, and assume responsibility for the safety and economic welfare of their people, making appropriate legislations and regulations to step into roles previously denied them or prohibited by the fraudulent and now disputed 1999 Constitution, especially via the 68-item federal exclusive legislative list in that 1999 Constitution, pending when formal transitional mechanisms are worked out. Power belongs to the people. Thank you for your attention. I've read this on behalf of Professor Banji Akitoye, the sitting chairman of Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination. My name is Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki. I'm the president of the Midwest Movement of Nigeria. And I'm your colleague, so you have to be fair with me. I'm the past MD of that communication.
Now, question time.
I'm really large.
Yes, I will answer. Okay. All right. You know them better. Okay. As you introduce yourself, your name, the medium you represent, and then we go from there. Yeah. Did you raise your hand? Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Ademola.
Please, one house, please. One house. One house. We have a global audience, please. Go ahead.
My name is Ademola. I work with TVC.
Yeah.
So first, I want to know how many groups you have in this Nigerian business. How many groups have all together? Because I'm very sure different associations and groups under this umbrella.
Yes.
First. Secondly, you made mention of this particular place where you talked about where the southern governors said something about the open grazing ban and all of those things. There was something that was missing. Maybe I need you to clarify it. Because I remember that I was in that meeting. Maybe I was the one that I took was the one I was particular to this alliance.
Yes.
And which is, of course, we talked about the ban, but what the Southern Governors Forum said was that we're not in support of any self-determination from any quarters. Because I remember you did hear that even when it came to me, it was the same thing. So I want to, because when you were reading it, you were making reference to it, saying that as a result of that decision they made in Asaba, has also given consent to the fact that
they have come to our side.
No, the 1999 Constitution, as a result of that decision, the 1999 Constitution, it's what NINAS has also been saying. So the decision they made as a result of that was in consonant with what you were saying. So I needed you to clear that.
Right, right.
So you said all political parties should close shop.
Yes.
Okay. If they are closing shop, and I want to also ask, you said you have made consultations everywhere.
Yes.
And the consultations you have made, I want to know, did you consult also the political parties? My question. If you tell them to close shop, what exactly do you tell them in closing shop? Did you give them? I want to know exactly what you're telling me. If you're telling me to close shop, what exactly are you telling me to close shop for? The things that I want to, that will be done, in the process of achieving these laudable projects. If you tell me close shop, what is the alternative? It's not that the just declaration. I want to move to alternative.
Okay. All right. So for the global audience that didn't hear, what are the constituents of NINAS? What are the constituent parts of NINAS? He wants to know, secondly, the governors also said that in that same meeting referred to, that they do not necessarily subscribe to self-determination. So how do we align that to where things are? And then thirdly, when you say close shop, what do we exactly mean? So,
okay, right. I begin with the
You can't remove it.
This is the camera that is connected to. Okay, all right. Let's go. Right, let's go. Now, if you go to the speech itself, and the basis of all of what we are saying now is that December 16 force majeure proclamation, published in Guardian newspaper, 4 pages as advertorial on the 20th of January 2021. Copies of it have been distributed here. Electronic copies of it have been sent to your emails and even phone numbers. Anybody listening to this broadcast now, anybody who has anybody from the south or middle belt of Nigeria who can read and write, who has not read that proclamation, may become a victim of self-imposed ignorance, because the global community, the world powers, have been discussing the details of what we proposed. And on the 28th, 29th, and 30th of April in 2021, the world powers took a common position on the situation in Nigeria. The US, the EU, and the UK. They told Nigeria pointedly that in this dispute and commotion that has seized their space, that guns will not speak on the issues that led to 1966 and 1967 and all the war that came with it have come again. Nigeria, instead of solving its problem by dialogue at the time, resorted to arms. Killed 3.5 million people in one part of the country and refused to solve the problem to date. Unfortunately, that same problem has spread everywhere. And the Nigerian Indigenous Nationalities Alliance for Self-Determination has now become the majority in that country called Nigeria. The whole of the South, I want you to look at that map over there. The whole of the South and the whole of the Middle Belt, minus the 12 states contiguous territory that imposed Sharia simultaneously in year 2000. They are on a mission of conquest. They came from outside. You saw the document I was reading. The British called us natives at the time. The ones who are not indigenous to Nigeria are the ones invading, killing people in the east, in the west, and in the middle belt. And so there is now a new majority. There is now a new alliance that has overtaken the alliance of 1967, which isolated a small portion of the east and had their way, imposing the laws by brigade that became this constitution we have now. And so
book local jobs with Google's local services ads.
So we come back to your question. I wanted to lay this background so that we can know that when the governors went to Asaba to say that they would ban open grazing, the people that come with their cows and kill people everywhere, they are armed with sophisticated weapons, AK-47. If you ban open grazing, by what weapon are you going to enforce the ban? And so all we said here is that the governors, in taking that position, even for the fact that they were compelled by what we were doing to meet for the first time, they have never met. And you saw the effects from the time they met. And they took that position we are saying, and we know they are listening, and we're inviting them to come. They have moved away from where they used to be in saying they stand with that constitution for all time. They say they will ban open grazing. The guns they will require, no one of the governors can issue one rifle to either a vigilante or whatever they form. It still has to be that Abuja, and it is that constitution, the exclusive list on that constitution puts arms and ammunition on the exclusive list. And the subject of policing and all kinds of things relating to security. That is why the governors cannot, enforce that ban. Therefore, if they are serious, they say they are playing politics. I know they are not. They may have other difficulties, but I certainly know that the killings going on in their spaces do not give them joy. So we're explaining to them that the mechanism for arriving at where they can have guns that are not dependent on the ones who are killing them, because I can't make any distinction, I'm unable to make a distinction between the ones killing from inside the bush and the ones who are operating from the government house. For goodness sake, the president of Nigeria has remained a life grand patron of Miyetti Allah. Miyetti Allah that proudly takes responsibility for the murderous activities of Fulani headsmen. My president goes to the treasury to take 100 billion naira to give to Miyetti Allah, that then hands it over to Fulani headsmen. How am I to make a distinction between the Miyetti Allah, the Fulani headsman, and the president of Nigeria, who is their champion? And so that's for what's it called? That's for the governors and what they said. They also said they said that they do not subscribe to self-determination. Yes. I can tell you, because we have dealt with them, they do not understand. 99% of them do not understand the meaning of self-determination. Self-determination can mean 30% autonomy. Self-determination, as long as you are the one who decides for yourself in your space, that's all it means. Yeah. Therefore, if you are the ones who are talking about restructuring, who want to go back to 1963 constitution, yeah, they're only asking for maybe 70 or 80% of autonomy, which was what Nigeria was agreed to be. Yeah. And so, again, the ones who are saying they want to be Odua Republic or Biafra Republic, they're asking for 100% autonomy. And so, it is a question of knowing the meaning of self-determination. Self-determination can give you a gamut of options. The only thing that is important is that it is the one who has to be governed in his space that is determining who he relates with in terms of union, and the terms of that union in terms of what is written in constitution. There are two different businesses. It's like memo and article. The memo creates the company. The article regulates the relationship between the owners of the company. There are two different documents. And so the constitution, you see, that begins with we the people having solemnly resolved to live together, do hereby make the following constitution. Is the memo that we the people is we the Yoruba, we the Ogoni, population that could be conscious of their own. Yoruba will be a country of 16 million people. And you say we, the Yoruba people, having solemnly resolved with the Ijaw people, the Igbo people, the Beron people, do hereby make and give unto us that they resolve to be in one union. That's one claim, and it's false. They now say they wrote the constitution to regulate their affair. Again, a second false claim. And that's all we are concerned about in this movement. He had asked about political parties. Who is the NINAS? The NINAS, you are asking the number of organizations. In Yoruba, the last, I think was in March, we went to Ibadan. The day Igboho came to join us. The Yoruba organizations that are aligned with Ilana Omo Odua alone are in excess of 100.
Claim your free business profile on Google so you can manage your hours, safety information, and upload photos of your business.
Business profile helps me stay connected to my customers no matter what changes.
Square provides a secure, PCI-compliant, customizable web payment solution. It will accept debit, credit, Square gift cards, and even digital wallets. The payment form requires both a client-side and server-side component.
Build your own online payment form in 3 steps and take payments through a custom checkout flow with Square.
100. 120 by the last count. And as I speak with you, since NINAS began to do more things, we have received requests from over 200 other organizations that were operating in different parts of the world, home and abroad, who want from the Yoruba space alone. In the eastern part, all the self-determination organizations in the eastern half of southern Nigeria, according to what you see in that map, you see Dr. John Pedro Obaseki, the leader of the Midwest movement, the whole of what we call Edo State today, and Delta State, and that flank, all the way through the Bayelsa and the rivers and Akwa Ibom, you will see the list of signatories. And therefore, you can imagine the head of Pandef, may so rest in peace, the Air Commodore Idonga is signatory to this. And he didn't just go signing. All the organizations associated with Pandef were there. So all of those who had ever gathered anybody in those 11 states of what we call the South and Southeast, Nyamodo was the President General of Ohanese at the date he signed up to this. So you go from there to which other parties left? The Middle Belt. All of, just look at the signatures. That's why we're inviting you, particularly the media. That's why we gave you that publication. We are discussing the lives of 200 million people. The United Nations itself had enough concern to send a special rapporteur to come to find out why blood was flowing all over Nigeria. Poverty climbing the rooftop of Nigeria. For a country that sells 3 million barrels of crude oil. Young people from Nigeria running from Nigeria as if, dashing out of hell. They are ready to go anywhere. They are ready to trek across the Mediterranean desert and then the Mediterranean Sea. Everywhere they go, anywhere but Nigeria. What is the problem? That rapporteur came to the conclusion after a visit to Nigeria that happened in August of 2019. Came to the determination that it was the constitutional arrangement of Nigeria that was responsible for all those flow of blood, and that Nigeria has become a danger to the global community under that constitution. That if it is not taken care of, Nigeria will snap, and the global community will have to work out how to manage 200 million refugees. And that the global terror networks, Al Qaeda and ISIS, are already here. So why would the global community and the powers that be between Washington and New York be discussing the affairs of Nigeria in this manner? And the people who are in that problem are not interested in it, and they are discussing whose turn it is to come and preside over that rotten, situation with the election that will come. What else did we talk about?
Okay, when you say close shop,
yes,
political parties, just very briefly, because I see many hands in the virtual room that have come out this second.
Yes.
When you said tell them close shop, what does that mean?
We're inviting the political parties. Yes, we talk about, you heard what we call the Judas goat. For people who operate abattoirs, the animals, when you want to go to where you take them for slaughter, from where they are feeding them, somehow they get to know that all the animals that go this way never come back. So anytime you try to take them that way, they are that reluctant. So the operators of abattoirs have to train particular goats or cows, depending on the kind of animal you have. Those goats are the ones who they come, because when they see human being, they know the time to die is coming. So it is that goat that will now come, just stand as one of them and initiate the movement towards them. And as long as they're not seeing human being, they will go with him. That Judas goat is never killed because it has to do that task over and over and over again to deliver them to slaughter. You can Google this. It's not something that we manufacture. It's called Judas goat. The whole world knows. So the role the political parties in Nigeria have been playing since 1999 is that role of Judas goat to lead us to slaughter once in 4 years in the name of elections, under which, by which people are going to assume power and pretend to be a democracy under a constitution that take all our assets, that reduce us to slaves in our land, was an apartheid constitution. So we're just telling the political parties that there's no other business, whether they are PDP or APC or AGRA or Young People Party. We are addressing today that generation of Nigerians that organized what became NSAS. It is they are asking you to go and form party. The other time they say not too young to run. Ask them under what constitution with which constitution will the winner govern? The constitution that already took away everything, the constitution that put that electoral contour, the INEC is in Abuja, able to do and undo. You can win your election, and INEC will go and select the person on the fourth on the list, like we saw in Imo.
Who wants to local government?
Yeah, like we saw in Imo. And what are you going to do about it? So we're pleading with the political parties that the end product of everything they do is to contest the election. All our miseries flow from that constitution. All the political parties in Nigeria subscribe to that constitution. Any one of them that wins will have to swear to defend and uphold that constitution. Therefore, we are back in our damnation. They are reinforcing the source of our misery. But when they win the election, the ones that are governors will begin to go and take 4 or 5 billion every month. The ones that are senators will begin to take 50, 60 million every month. That's all they're interested in. And so we're telling them, we're inviting them to please even just listen, examine it. Because the ones who are suffering from this, the ones who are being killed, whether it's in the Middle Belt or in the East or in the West, they are the ones calling them now to say, please, we can't go to renew the life of this constitution again in 2023. Let us stop now and go into transition. And how will it happen? We are not inviting any novelty. South Africa was in exactly the same situation by 1990. Apartheid constitution was introduced in 1910. And ANC was formed in 1912. The same thing we are trying to do now was what South Africa had to contend with for 80 years. And it came to the point in 1990 that somebody in government, Frederick de Klerk, had the courage to say no society can be constructed on this kind of foundation, and it was signed. And he announced an end. He made an announcement that the apartheid constitution would be decommissioned. It is what Frederick de Klerk did in 1990 that we're inviting with apartheid constitution to commence the process of dismantling apartheid. The only difference between our situation and that of South Africa is that in South Africa it was the Boers, but everything is the same. White skin versus black and color. Strange minority, seizing the entire land and imposing the constitution that made everything their own to the exclusion of the owners of the land. Our own ordeal started in 1914. The white skin we have here is the Fulani, sponsored by the British. They are in a joint venture against all of us. And the proceeds of that joint venture is the 3 million barrels of crude oil that Nigeria sells every day. It belongs to them exclusively. Ask the job people, ask the Shekiri people, ask the Anami, and the ones, all of them in that place we call the Niger Delta. It is in that regard that we are telling all of those who are listening now that what we have to do, and it's an emergency, the people who are being killed, 200 million people, or at least 150 million if you remove the Sharia belt, because those ones have succeeded. I want you, the media, to pay particular attention. The Constitution of Nigeria in Section 10 expressly prohibits state religion, whether by federal or state government. 12 contiguous states from Sokoto that goes all the way to Maiduguri simultaneously adopted Sharia. Have they not seceded from a secular union? They have. And we do not quarrel with that. We only say we interpret it to mean that they've exercised their right to self-determination. That's what they decided to do. Their state assemblies passed the law. The governors signed up to it. And they've been implementing it, chopping off people's hands and detaining those who drink beer while they take money from proceeds of VAT. So we're saying that they have left, they have seceded from a secular. And the title deed, which is what we are pronouncing dead today, the title deed, the constitution, is been defeated. But our people do not know that they have become free. The prison gate is open. Our people are still sitting and refusing to come to leave the gate. The constitution that bound them leg and hand is dead. So we're inviting them today after this 120 days of consultation, having given the federal government 90 days. What did they do? They rushed to National Assembly to try to go and do amendment. And we told them that the mandate of National Assembly doesn't extend to constitutional measure. That was how the thing collapsed on their head. Then the governors, instead of coming to the consultation, we invited them. They read what they read and went to Asaba to start pretending, to start speaking in a manner that, tell their people that they are coming. They've not come around fully. We're inviting them openly again to come to the propositions because their own people who have been slaughtered are listening and waiting to see what they will do. Are they going to stand with the enemy to continue to defend and uphold this constitution, planning another election in 2020 that will need that for that constitution so that their people can be slaughtered? The people are trying to overrun us, conquer us afresh, to establish control outside what the constitution gave them. It is now up to us to allow them or not to allow them.
Thank you very much. So, Mazezeke, what we're going to do, we'll take one more question from the press here, and then I'll turn it back to you for more. I see a lot of hands open, so we'll take one more question here, and I'll turn it to you for another round of questions. Okay. Who else? Question here? All right. So introduce yourself and your media house, and then your question. Project your voices.
No, she'll speak.
People, while that is ongoing, please, if you know you want to ask question, you have to raise your hand using the device. Please ensure your camera is turned on, that your name reflects on the on the lower third. If we have like iPhone, Galaxy or whatever, sadly, we won't call you up if you do not have your camera turned on. If you do not have your name there, we won't. So once more, can we have one more question from the audience? Then we come back to the virtual audience here. So we quickly round up.
All right, so we have one question and then we'll come back to you. Okay.
All right, go ahead. One more question.
Yes.
Borrowing from the experience of South Africa waiver.
Yes.
I want to find out.
Yes.
From all your consultations.
Yes.
Is there anybody within the government that has publicly declared support for this segmentation?
Okay. That's your question.
Secondly,
right.
Secondly, if it is proven in the National Assembly or the lawmakers that their duty is that of the lawmaking and not constitutional drafting, what is their stand on this? And from the consultations, I want to know,
yes,
because you made us understand that it's conducted widely,
yes,
with stakeholders.
Yes.
Have you personally reached Mr. President over this?
Wonderful.
Okay, thanks. Let's take your question first together, and then we'll go to the.
Sorry. Àìbéèrè mi ni pé nínú ọ̀rọ̀ tí dókítà Obaseki sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan, wọ́n ṣàlàyé pé kò ní ṣeé ṣe kí ìdìbò wáyé lọ́dún 2023.
If you suffer from diabetes type 2,
ká tó sọ pé a ò ní dìbò, ṣùgbọ́n láti sin lọ ká máa gbìyànjú láti dá dúró. Kí ni àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ àbí kí ni ó yẹ kí àwọn aráàlú mọ̀ láti rí i pé wọ́n lè dá ìdìbò dúró, àti pé tó bá di 2023 tó jẹ́ pé ìdìbò fẹ́ wáyé tí mo ṣe fẹ́ gbé àárín yẹn, ṣùgbọ́n tó jẹ́ pé a sún dé 2023 tí ìdìbò dẹ̀ wáyé, kí ló fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀, àbí tí ìdìbò bá wáyé kí ló fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀.
I will start with the last question. I'll come back to you. Ìjà náà ni ìjà ló mọ nǹkan tó ń pè ń jà. Ìjà ló máa jẹ́ láàrin wa o, kì í ṣe pẹ̀lú àwọn tó wà àti ìfúdalájà lọ. Àwọn ẹ̀gbọ́n wa, àwọn cousins wa, wọ́n fẹ́ ṣe ṣe mọ́ o. Somebody before people are our no, you see, as in Bamaso. That's all about that. For those who didn't understand the Greek who was speaking, she was asking how this matter of getting the political parties to close shops. We are still appealing to them at this time. We say we have to persuade them because unless they are happy with the killings that are going on, unless they are happy with the misery and the poverty that has overtaken everybody, we believe we've not asked them to leave government house, those in government house. We offer.
Today I'm going to show you how to manifest unexpected money into your life. Let's say your bank account's empty.
Transition, stay in place. We don't want that. We still have 2 years to the point. Of election in 2023, between now and that 2 years, if they refuse to listen, I'm sure that those who did not know that the role they were playing all this while, young people whose future have been mortgaged, whose everything has been damaged by the constitution the political parties are clinging on to. Those people are going to decide. What we are doing is just to place all the cards on the table and to offer a framework. If you read the 5 points of demand, you will see exactly what we propose about how to go step by step. There's also another document of 2018, which has also been shared to you, that open memorandum to the President Buhari by this alliance, offering a step-by-step, start to finish, mechanism for undertaking the fundamental reconstruction that this union requires now. You will see them in government every time saying that nobody knows how it will be done, how it can ever be done. No. When we convened Pronaco in 2005, and we had 164 ethnic delegations meeting for 2 years, sitting in Lagos, sitting in Port Harcourt, sitting in Enugu, sitting in Jos, sitting in Kano, including Buhari, sitting in Lagos to conclude, including Muhammad Buhari as part of the Fulani delegation that came, including the Syed Abubakar Sultan in Sokoto now. He was a colonel in the army. They were all parts of the delegation that came. All of the groups who were angry enough with Nigeria at the time to carry arms, Asani Dokuba and his Niger Delta Volunteer Force, Ghanaian Adams and his OPC, even the ones who were talking Biafra at the time, who was Rike, we persuaded all of them to please put their guns aside and come to a meeting of the owners of Nigeria. Forget what the British did. Forget what the military did. We are here now. The trouble is here to be solved. What do we do? And we went around, doing that for 2 years. The US sent observer mission. The European Union sent observer mission. And I was directly involved in dealing with those. They started off on the first day to the last day. The draft that came out of that process, it was a delegate from Katsina that moved the motion at plenary for the adoption of that finished product. Everything we are trying to resolve now, everything we tried to resolve since 1967, we're done. We put everything on the table. We actually put the question of, do we want to continue in the union? Ojukwu was involved. Enohoro was involved. Soyinka was involved. Who else do you want to go and bring to raise this discussion? And then people who are in government. Let me tell you, some of us are thinking that government, because they've conditioned us to that feudalist pyramid where the emir is at the top and nobody can ask him, what are you doing? Government is like the hired management of a company. in comparison with the owners of the company, the shareholder, the Nigerian Union is a joint venture between the sovereign component, the people that were in countries of their own, but who decided to come together, which was the meeting that happened in Lancaster House, which is this false claim in this constitution of we the people have solemnly resolved. It is that falsehood that Yoruba have resolved with Beron, with Thief, with the job that we're saying you cannot put our signature on a document we did not make. That now sees all our assets. The oil and gas assets of the Niger Delta is seized from them by this constitution. There's nobody in Abuja that can return that thing to them except the sovereign owners of Nigeria decide what will happen. You saw the petroleum industry bill they are using to insult the intelligence of everybody. We don't have any more to tell them than the contents of that proclamation of December 16th. Anybody who will ask us any question about how should please go and read that proclamation. We come back to the first question. Okay. What was it?
So anyone from
no.
From the first gentleman?
No, the first gentleman. Let's just second.
Yeah, very briefly.
Yes.
We have a lot of people in the back.
Yes, anyone
from the government, like
yes.
The South African.
Hold on.
Do you have anyone in government
who has ever been told or who now believes? There's nobody like their names I'm calling now. And we have documents right here. You media will see it before you go. It's in an envelope somewhere inside this premises. You will see that Buhari, who is president now, was directly involved in all that process of how do we resolve this. Nothing has changed from what we said that time, just that people didn't listen. Obasanjo went on national television at the time to say we were committing treason if we called a meeting of the owners of Nigeria. Of course, when he saw the owners of Nigeria gather, nobody told him to get back. Now, all of them who were Buhari was part of Fulani delegation that came. The owner of the party of what they call them now, APC, was governor in Lagos. He was directly involved from the time of, because it was the unfinished business of Nadeko that Pronaco came to do, to make out the constitution by which we go to the democracy. So, Bola Tinubu was very much involved. His chief of staff, Fashola, at the time we were doing the chief of staff who had to relate day and night with the conference was Fashola. The attorney general in that administration of Lagos State was Oshibajo, is now vice president. Who do I call, who do I leave out amongst all of them? They understand exactly what we are talking about, and they are now setting up committees.
War Thunder, the military online action game, has received this year's first major update. The branch of Union
Committee that will go and discover afresh, Rufai committee that will discover afresh what the meaning of restructuring is.
Okay, second one.
Lawmakers,
what is their stand? Does it matter?
The lawmakers, again, it is this misconception that unless their mandate is to make law, the constitution by which that mandate is supposed to be conferred is what we are disputing. So what we are talking about is like the owners of a company, the shareholders of a company are holding a meeting. And then the management people they hired to work for them are now sitting, they threw away their memo and article. Yeah. What happened to us in 1996 was that the memo and articles of the enterprise Nigeria was overthrown by hired management. It was people in government that it was go on the 27th day of May in 1967 that fractured the 4 regions into 12 states. And the federal government from that day became the owner of the assets of those regions, and progressively they fractured those 12 states into the 36 we have now, in which one region has become the owner and controller of everybody. The National Assembly does not have the mandate to even partake of this discussion. In what they are doing currently, amending constitution to continue in their brigandage, they are committing treason against all of us. All the people who have been swearing to defend and uphold this constitution that is a fraud. We went to court in 2007 to say that this constitution is a fraud. The Attorney General of Nigeria of the time joined issues with us in court, and he had no answer. He said he had nothing to say. That was the answer to our charge, that the constitution by which our life is being ruined is a fraud.
Okay. So let's take a very brief one from Dr. So one of the questions that will go to
the first guy at TVC I just don't want us to continue to have an issue with definitions. Tony, I'll try to explain it. NINAS is for the indigenous peoples of Nigeria, for self-determination. Every secession is a self-determination, but all self-determination is not equal to or tantamount to secession. Saying I want to determine how I engage in this union does not mean I want to declare Pedro Obaseki Republic. Get it clear, because it is important we educate our people properly. I don't know whether you get my point. You must know that as at the time Awolowo was I'm using that deliberately, was the premier of the Western region. By self-determination, it was agreed across board by all of them that Mr. Awolowo, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, owns 50% of everything that comes out of the Western Union, of the Western region. Today, you only get 13% derivation, which is tantamount to 87% deprivation. You must know that Nigeria, when it worked, when Cocoa House was built, when Western Nigeria had TV stations, was 50, 30, 20. No, you are young people. The people that we represent, the people Tony is screaming for, the people Professor Akintoye is screaming for, when they were born, our people had 50% of whatever comes out of Lagos. 30% is put at the federal, to the federal government. 20% in a federation account to be shared pro rata according to popularity, to population, demography, and spread. Today, Nigeria operates via reverse osmosis. You must know you are the most important plank in everything everybody on this side is doing. That is just a comment.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Master over to you for some virtual audience questions.
Okay, thank you once more. We are now back here virtually. And I would be very quick, and we have over about 15 or 14 people raising their hand. But what we're going to do, people, in order to get as much as more people to ask their questions, bear in mind this will be lumped into one. Now, the following is how I'm going to do it. I'll give you 30 seconds. Please ensure your camera is turned on. If your camera is not turned on and your name does not show, you will be jumped. 30 seconds, ask your question. Please, those at the conference center, make note. I'm going to get Desmond Allah, you're there. Please, can you unmute yourself? Your 30 seconds starts now.
Thank you so much. My question is this. We are the people that give the politician the gas and the power to be humiliating us. An election will be taking place in West Nigeria if we're still alive, if the country will still be alive. What are we doing to make sure that Osun Ekiti will not have the election in place? Mobilize the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. That's very good. So please note that down. He asked, what are we doing to ensure that election and in Osun and Ekiti? So I don't know if that's part of the plan. But again, let's get quickly. Bukini Olasini, please. Bukini Olasini. Ensure.
Yeah, thank you very much. My concern is for Lagos State, one. Secondly, my concern is for the youth between the age of 15 and 25. How do we orientate these people to see what we are not, to see what we are seeing, because it seems they are sleeping? How do we enlighten them? How do we teach them? How do we let them know what is happening? And how do we get them involved? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's a very brilliant time management there. And the next person is Joseph Anu. Joseph, quickly, 30 seconds.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Please, this is what I'm going to ask. There's something that's going on that is victimized we youth that doesn't give us room to come out, to come and express our feelings, which is police brutality. There's seriously police brutality going on in Nigeria, especially in Lagos State and Ogun State. They kill people, they kidnap people day in, day night, killing, and nothing was going on. And this part of what is giving us fear to come out, to express our feelings, to join most of you people. A lot of you, but they are afraid. Please.
Thank you very much for your question. So the next person is Prince Adewale, please. Prince Adewale, please.
Thank you very much, sir. Oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you very much. And thank you, Tony, for taking us this far. I appreciate you so much. Because of the time constraint, just going to go quickly. Part of what I need to ask had just been asked by Mr. Joseph. As we all say, there's so much problem, so much arrest, police brutality, arresting our people, government killing, arresting within Yoruba, demanding ransom, because the way they're asking us to bail is like demanding ransom from us. Is there anything we can do to stop this? Maybe if NINAS can help us speak to the international community.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Your time is up. Sorry, Adoye King, please. It's the same question that you've just been asked. Adoye King, please. Greetings.
Okay, good afternoon. Okay, some of the questions I would like to ask has also been asked, but then I just want to add a little bit of it. Now, the international community, because I want to believe the international community will play a very big part in this. Now, the international community, what is their own perspective of this? Like, are they really willing to come to the aid of the indigenous people of Nigeria? Are they really involved in this? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's a very good time management as well. So I would now take, sadly, I will only take two more, then we'll wrap it up because I can see there are some questions that were paired. Please, if someone has asked your question, there is no need, repeating them. You can just lower your hands so that that question will be attended to. I'm going to take Joseph Kari. Joseph Kari, please.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to ask the question. My question is it possible for NINAS to mobilize the so-called electorate to start to recall their representatives in the National Assembly as part of the shutting down of the political parties? That's my question.
Thank you very much. And the last person I will be taking now will be Olufemi Adeni. Olufemi Adeni, quickly unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you very much. My question is about some of our people that are being held hostage in Abuja and outside Nigeria. So I know that some people have been involved in their release. What is NINAS doing to ensure that our people are not held hostage again and their property, houses are...
I found a way to run my old computers with no hard drive. Here it is, and it's not in this computer.
are no longer destroyed again by these lawless people. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Again, you may quickly also mute yourself. So that's the much we took. 7 questions, but I think we can basically say it's 5 questions because some of them overlapped. So Tony, I think you obviously, you in the center there had all that was asked. So my question then will be, can you kindly respond to this? Can we be very sensitive of time? And, the time starts now. Go ahead.
Right. I begin with this one that talked about what we could do about Ekiti and the election. Again, we invite everybody to go and read exactly what we wrote down. It's in the proclamation. It is in the one of the statement of today. We are not concerned about the off-season election of states. Anambra here, it is 2023 election that we are concerned with, to shut down the journey to it before it begins. Anything that happens to that general situation will everybody will adjust to it. If those states are lucky to have done their election before the shutdown happens, good luck to them. If they'll be sensitive enough to realize, like P2B has just been telling them, that initially he thought it was the group driver which he thought he would be that was required. No, the engine of Nigeria is not. And so it is the presidential election of 2023 that we are talking about. We've not asked anybody to go to disrupt any of the corner side. Let us read what is written so that we can put ourselves in the plan. If you do not understand the plan and you jump into the middle of it to go and enforce it in your own small area, you may just enjoy yourself. So it is the 2023 national election, presidential election, that is our principal concern. That's for this month. Rotimi was talking about youth and what they will be asking. We are asking them to do. The knowledge the youth have, is what is required most in this current engagement. The internet is there to spread this information. If 5% of those who are lamenting in Nigeria who have education enough to join the task, if 5% of them get to know what you now know, this problem will not take 6 months to solve completely. But if they leave the solution we are bringing, and they are listening to noise and just becoming emotional and not, having any plan that can be advanced to solve the problem, they are going to put themselves in harm's way. We are here engaging the source of the problem. It is this constitution that guarantees all of what is happening. And we are in a position to pull back our signature from this constitution and take it down. And all of those things will be extinguished from source. If you are not interested in going to extinguish it at source, and you are just interested in going to cause commotion outside the plan, then you may expose yourself to danger. That's what we're going to say about the youth. If they join, this matter will be solved, including the police brutality. Is it not because we have a centralized police system that we are now talking about what NSAS and all of that? If you solve police, who's going to solve NEPA? Who's going to solve the infrastructure that's bad? Who's going to solve quota system that lock you out of opportunity? Who's going to solve the mass poverty in which this naira is gone to 500 plus for $1? If you don't listen and look at what can solve the problem and be a part of how that is being done, then the problem will survive. But if you listen to it, we'll spread this message in a matter of weeks. Everybody will get to know. The politicians and all of those who are upholding the constitution are too few. The Fulani and whoever they bring from across the border are again too few. How can they contend with this alliance if all of us become serious? But if we decide to work with ignorance, which is one of the key things that sustain them, our ignorance is their biggest capital. We have education, we have information, we have internet that can multiply it. Why are we not using all of that with the avalanche of information we have now to get rid of this problem once and for all? So that's about that. We come down to Kerry that talked about recall. No, we have a timeline, situation in which if we work hard, there's no reason why that constitution will not be out of our life in course of 2021. Why do we have to waste time to recall them something that will now be in the hands of INEC to do? Let us examine the plan we have on the table and then bring our energies to that plan. If we are discussing within the context of that plan, we turn off the tap and stop mopping all these patches of reaction here and there will not take us anywhere. They are already upon us. They want to kill us off and take our land. We don't have the luxury of time to be recalling them and discussing something that will be in the hands of INEC to decide for us when we need the energy to go straight to reaching the domino 2 milestone. That's what I don't think. I don't know whether there's anything that has been left out.
Okay.
If you have more time, if you don't mind, if you have if you have more time, we can take, because obviously there are more people that raise their hands. So how does that? That sits there.
So
are we able to take more questions?
What we can do, Maz is okay. We have, if you have a way of getting the email addresses, we can send this material, this text of the speech to everyone, because it pretty much has many of the answers. But we really want to round up like 2 minutes.
Okay.
At the hour of 1 o'clock.
That's fine. I mean, for many people that are watching us globally, the speech that was read is already online. If you want to find it, you can head to njenjemedia.com. It's already published there. And for many of you who are also on this Zoom, that has been shared in the comment section. Also, for anyone who wishes to know more about NINAS, obviously, I would allow Tony just 1 minute. And when I say 1 minute, I mean 1 minute to give just a summary of where to get what information as regards to NINAS. Or Tony, do you want me to get Johnny to do that? Or do you want to take it up? Strictly 1 minute.
No, Johnny can. Johnny will do better with us. But let me just close by telling our people that the right we are exercising now, which is why Nigeria has a problem, including those who are asking what is international community doing. International community has gone ahead of us. What was the reason the US canceled the sale of attack helicopters, $875 million against Nigeria? What was the reason China is canceled loan of $1 billion they already approved? What was the reason Nigeria been put on the special as a country of special concern? Along with Iran as a state sponsors of terror. The international community is waiting for us to do the little. We spent the whole of 2019 discussing from one department to the other. There's nothing we have said in this room now that was not said that I did not have to take on the floor of Congress in Capitol Hill, both in the House and in the Senate and at the State Department. They have gone ahead to initiate policies that should have, that we should take advantage of. But our people are not listening, and they're just, everybody is trying to reinvent the wheel in their corner. The international community is waiting for us to demonstrate that we have rejected this constitution. There's nothing else that will bring them here to come and do the balance of what we cannot do. Let us do that our own part in telling those who hold us hostage with this constitution that we're not going to go to any further election. It's only when we do that that we can activate what they can do for us. Johnny, please, you can take it from there.
Well, thank you so very much. Thank you, Dr. Baseki. Thank you, Tony Nadi. Thank you, everyone, and Njenje Media. My recommendation to everyone is get involved with, if you're from the Southeast and South-South, get involved with the Lower Niger Congress. They are the NINAS affiliate from that zone, from that block. If you are from the Middle Belt, get with the Middle Belt Forum. If you're from Yoruba, the Yoruba space, get with Ilana Omo Odua. There's work for you to do. Everyone, there is work for you to do. Your best, the best recommendation is for you to connect with those who are already connected. I can send you to website, I can send you to ninasffn.org, but most of all, get involved with your local, with the block that where you reside, where you are from. That is where you can, for the people that are already involved, so they can get you involved in the work. You can also go to ninasffn.org and sign the petition or request for referendum at ninasffn.org. And the most important thing is get involved. Don't sit back and watch. Get involved. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Back
you
to
very
Mazi. It's okay.
Thank you very much, Johnny. That's a very fantastic place to live it. It has been my pleasure to be your host in the last 2 hours. Again, one thing we must all have to know is, obviously, something is amiss with this marriage. And this marriage, what NINAS and what my good brother there, the doctor himself, Dr. Dom Pedro Obaseki and Tony Nadi, what has been said, if I may attempt to summarize this virtual lecture, it's very simple. The union is not working. The union is disputed. On that note, I will say thank you very much for being part of our conversation and this press conference today. We will see more of us. For many of you watching me, if you haven't done so, head to Facebook, head to YouTube, just Google Njenje Media TV, follow us, subscribe to our platform, and other social media platforms so that we can always have you, you'll be informed of what we do. Obo, is there anything that we need to do for you?
We are good here. Thank you very much, Mazi Ezoke. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, thank you also. And I will say now,
here at BOTB, we have two dream